All right, let's see. What do we got here? Testing 1, 2, 3. We have audio. Looks like we have video. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Yeah, that looks good. And we've got chat room. Let's see who's with us today. Tom S. Oh, that's me. Tommy Willis, John Kraft, TV Todd, Mark C. Step Back in Times, TV Giles, Nicholas Davidson, not to be confused with Nick, the troublemaker, you know, John O'Malley, Steve Brown, talked to Steve this morning, Jerry Harden, Indrit Virat, Kyle Gunderman, hey Kyle, Dave, Joe S., hey Joe, Michael Graves, and Rudy Engels. All right, glad you're here. And what have you guys been talking about? The weather, it looks like. And audio interfaces. What a coincidence. Tommy's experimenting with color. Finger paints, no doubt. Okay. A big warm welcome to those of you that are just now tuning in and coming from whatever show you were watching before this show. Because I understand now Wednesdays are becoming quite a show day. So Tech Show Day is Wednesday. There's always a good tech show on. What was it that I was going to go to with that? Something. Oh, well, whatever. Peter H., welcome. I know what I was going to do. I was going to say, for those of you that are watching on, let's see, what time is it? I guess the Facebook stream starts at 1:55 here, 2:55 Eastern. So that'll start automatically in just a second. Let's go ahead and start the Periscope stream. And so we're going YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. And we do want to give a big shout out to all of you that are watching for the first time. Love to have you come join us at easternshorebroadcasting.com, right down there at the bottom, because that's where you can get on the chat. And the chat will kind of go away during the show. So we'd love to, the show. How silly is that? Where did we come up with these terms? Isn't English a funny language? Oh my goodness. But I'm pretty excited about today's show. I've been meaning to do a show on this topic for quite a while. And I finally just said, let's just do it. It may not be the most perfect show. Hey, Ronnie, glad to have you. And Bill, it may not be the most perfect show, but I get so many questions from folks saying, I've got an audio interface. How do I get vMix to, recognize each one of the channels separately? Well, that's what we want to talk about today, as well as do some sort of background on that. Now, if you've watched this show before, for me, the background is pretty thin. It's not going to be deep background. It won't withstand an FBI check, but it'll give you this sort of general idea. Oh my goodness, it looks like I've got a feather coming out of the top of my head, doesn't it? Holy cow. There's something about these graphics. They're just going to do me in. We got to fix that one. Oh, once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. All right, where is the current time, ticker, clocks? Oh, it must be the background. I don't know that we can change that. Huh. Well, let's do this. Let's just slide me a little bit to the side. There we go. Now it looks like I have a single bunny ear. Oh, golly. Isn't this fun? Isn't this stuff funny? Things you don't see until all of a sudden you see them. And then who knows what. All right, Eric's here. I had a great conversation with Eric on the Streaming Idiots Facebook page yesterday. You guys need to run by and take a look at that one for sure. That was a good conversation. And Jerome's here. Welcome, Jerome. Oh, yeah, let's see. What is it called? Got it. Just making last few show notes here. Let's see. Dave-O is here from Canada. Very good. Eric's listening while he's finishing up at work. All right. Giles says, I have Mickey Mouse ears now. yeah, that's right. They need to come out of the sides of the head. I need to find different graphics. Because, the post-show graphic, let's see, here's the post-show graphic. That's just as bad. Oh, golly, never mind. Never mind. Never mind, they say. Don't worry about it. And Peter's here from Coventry. Very good. I had some friends that were in Coventry for several months. Well, they weren't in Coventry only, but they were in your fine country for several months. And they visited Coventry. Let's see. Who else joined us just now? Edward Ford is here. Edward was the one that was so kind to loan me his Bird Dog, his studio device from Bird Dog TV. Thank you, Edward. That was really great. Ken Richards here. Ken is the one, everybody does me favors. Ken sent me a bag of Dum Dums, the new official candy of Streaming Idiots. Thank you, Ken. I have them here on my desk, and I enjoy them frequently, probably too often. Let's see, Dave's here. Michael Rempel's here. You remember Michael was our guest last week talking about audio. Michael will be correcting me during the show today and adding a lot of depth, I'm sure. Nick is watching. Let's see. He's watching while checking out a PTZ Optics 20X SDI camera and an incredible Magewell Eco M2 capture card. Nick, where did you get those? Holy cow. That must have been quite a journey to find somebody that could supply those to you. Hint, hint. Kenny's here. Hey, Kenny. Martin K is here. Martin will also be correcting me during today's show. Mark C. I think I've already recognized Mark C. But we're still glad you're here. Let's see. Who else just joined us? If you're just now popping in, and if you're coming to us, let's see, what time is it? It's 1:58, so the Facebook feed has already started. We're in pre-show still. If you're watching us on Facebook or Periscope or YouTube directly, we would invite you to come get the chat room during the show at easternshorebroadcasting.com, right down there at the bottom, and click Watch Live. And you'll have to type in easternshorebroadcasting.com into your browser and then click Watch Live. Or is it Watch Now? Or I think it's Watch Live. It's got to be Watch Live. Yeah, it must be that. Anyway, so that way you can get it on the chat and you can talk to folks from literally all over the world. We've got a good contingent of folks from Europe, good folks from Canada. Looks like Toronto and Newfoundland, Luxembourg, Coventry. We welcome you all. And, of course, folks here from the U.S. And Rich is here. Rich made it on time from the West Coast. Rich, thanks for keeping me in the loop. Rich, and this is interesting. We've got just a minute. Well, we've got 30 seconds. Rich had a Bolt 4 that he purchased from me, I guess it was over a year ago now, that essentially is a Thunderbolt chassis. And we had put a Magewell capture card in it, and he'd been taking it literally all over the U.S. doing the jet ski racing. And he was having some intermittent problems with it, and come to find out it is just out of warranty. Which, that's, once it's out of warranty, it's out of, it wasn't that close, but it was out of warranty by a bit. And Rich, thank you for keeping me in the loop and sharing that information. I was really amazed at how inexpensively they promised to repair the card. 4-port capture card they were going to fix for $90, which I thought was a really, really good deal. John Kraft says, how do I find you on Periscope? Well, John, 1 minute and I'll tell you. First off, you have to find Periscope. Let's see. Periscope is right. Come on, where's Periscope? Well, it was right there. Did I move it? Isn't that funny? Let's go to the big app directory and find Periscope. Oh, I know. I don't ever know where it is because it just pops up with a little, hey, come watch me kind of icon on my phone. But I wanted to be able to tell you what my Periscope, handle was, or whatever they call that thing. Well, can't find it. Sorry, I'll have to do a better job next time. But John Kraft, I think it's a version of the phrase Eastern Shore Broadcasting. So if you look for that, or if they have a search function and you can search for Streaming Idiots, I think you'll find it that way. I'm sorry, I should be better. Oh, John found it. Never mind. Streaming plus idiot. There you go. There you go. All right. Giannis here and says the wife have hijacked his computer. Oh my goodness. Martin Steed is here. How you doing? It's yeah, I understand it's kind of chilly in your neck of the woods these days. Okay, we were supposed to start 2 minutes ago. Ronnie says, what are you using to process your audio, Tom? And that is the subject of today's show. So I'm going to hold your question for just a minute. Let me, one last time, going through the check of who's here on the list. Gene Greenwood is here. Welcome, Gene. I'm going through the list, and I probably already welcomed you. Jose Diaz Ricio is here. Welcome, Jose. And that's, if I've missed you, I apologize. Chime out and let us know. And before, Martin S. says, still summer in his world. Oh, well, then maybe I have the wrong Martin. And Jose is from Madrid. Welcome, Jose. Glad to have you. There are several folks that are watching on YouTube that aren't in chat, and I would invite you, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com and get in on the chat, because this is going to go away for just a second. And if you're watching us on Twitter, Facebook, and Periscope, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com. Get in on the chat. It's a good group of folks, and I think you'll enjoy the experience. So, one more thing, and we're going to do that, and then we're getting started today. It is a good day. A good day. All right, thank you for being here. Let's get on with the show. All right, Jan says, we are watching on YouTube so we can have Tom in full screen. Really? We need to pray for Jan and Marie, because obviously they do not have a life. And Ronnie says, thank you for doing this, Tom. This is really cool. My whole office is watching. Well, set your expectations very low, and you won't be disappointed. All right? Martin says, it's always summer in his world. Martin's the one that'll wear, I think he wears shorts all the way through the winter. All right, here we go. Fade to black. Ready, set, go. Hey, how about that? Welcome, I'm Tom Sinclair, and this is Streaming Idiots. That's right. You have hit complete rock bottom now. You have arrived at Streaming Idiots. It doesn't get any lower than this. But you know what they say about rock bottom? The only way to go from there is up. So we're delighted that you're here. I want to give a big shout out and welcome to all the folks that are watching us live on Facebook and Periscope, Twitter, and YouTube. We would invite you to come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com and get in on the chat, because there are several dozen folks in chat, and they're having a big old time, and we'd hate for you to miss it. And that's one of the great things about watching live, is that and it's one of the great things about watching live from my perspective, is because you and I can engage, and I love that, especially in the pre-show and the post-show. And occasionally during the show, when somebody will write something in all caps, Tom, your hair is on fire, or something like that. They like to tease me like that. But I'm delighted that you're here. Great show today. You know, don't we have a great show each week? It's so much fun. Michael Rempel, the audio professor, was on the show last week, and he's going to come back again because we barely got started. But today we're going to kind of continue on the theme of audio. We're going to talk about audio interfaces versus audio mixers and talk about, at least in the shallow end of the pool where I swim, what the difference between those is and how that difference can make a difference for you. But before we do, yes, you knew there had to be a hook. This show is a giant infomercial. That's right. It's an infomercial for my company, EasternShoreBroadcasting.com. Well, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Anyway, and hopefully it's just a little bit, what is it? A lot of info and a little bit of commercial? That's right. So here's the commercial. We'll get it out of the way. We are authorized resellers for vMix, yay. Magewell, yay. PTZ Optics, yay. Marshall Cameras, yay. PI Engineering and X Keys, yay. It is awesome. And the reason you say, well, Tom, that's not a very fat line of goods. Well, it's not a fat line. You're right. It's a thin line. And the reason why it's a skinny line is because we're adding products very slowly so that we can become intimately acquainted with those products and use those and test them and make sure we understand so that when we make a recommendation or a suggestion to a client and say, hey, take a look at the Marshall CV505 POV cam. We know what we're talking about. It's not information we got from a spec sheet. It's information we got from using that doggone Marshall camera right there and knowing about it. When somebody asks about a question about vMix, we can answer the question because we've been using vMix for years, thanks to Nick, whose name will go down in infamy. That's a story for another day. So we represent all those brands and we support all those brands, and we also design and build PCs for live streaming. So if you need something that's different than off the shelf, we can supply it. Obviously, we're going to put vMix in it. We're going to put Magewell in it. We're going to equip it with X Keys and Marshall cams and PTZ Optics cams and whatever else is appropriate, and then make recommendations. Like today's show is a recommendation for a product that we don't sell. So that'll be kind of interesting to talk about. And part of the commercial too is that we're going to post a link in the chat room, the live chat, and then in the show notes on YouTube and Facebook with a link to purchase that item yet to be named off of Amazon, and it's an affiliate link. So I'll give you the heads up already. It's an affiliate link, so if you don't want to use the affiliate link, please don't. But if you do, know that it helps to support this show, and so we're glad to have. Yeah, Rich is saying, but wait, there's more in 2018. So that's the infomercial part. I mean, the commercial part. If you have a question, you think that we can help in one of those areas, we're delighted to. We work with TV stations and radio stations and sports teams and talk shows and churches and all sorts of wonderful folks. I mean, you'd be amazed at some of the stories people tell me of how they're using live streaming. And we'll try to keep, as we have in the past, keep bringing those kind of people on as guests so that you can understand all the different kinds of things that you can do, because maybe you'll hit that idea that'll be the bing that'll write you a check for $1 million. You never know. You never know. Okay, enough of this idle chit chat. Now let's get into the info part. Couple of info notes that don't have anything to do with today's show is the vMix Fun Time live show that they have every month is coming up next week. That's right, November 21st, which is Tuesday. It'll be in the evening in the U.S., 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So extrapolate that for where you are. And I have a gut feeling that they will maybe, I'm getting waffly here now, aren't I? I have a gut feeling that they might introduce a new feature that will go into the vMix 20 feature set. So you won't want to miss that show. And what happens when they introduce a new feature, it's really kind of cool, is they'll talk about it during the show, but you can't get it. And then once the show is over, they'll go load their website with the right links, and they'll do all, they have to change the help files, and all that stuff has to be done kind of instantaneously as they release this. And so after the show, it takes about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, for them to get that new feature released. And so meanwhile, there are folks literally all over the world that are going, okay, refresh. They're refreshing their browser, waiting for it to pop up. So put that down on your calendar for next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, or at the very least, to make a check on the vMix website Wednesday morning, wherever you might be, and see if they have already posted that feature update, whatever it might be. I don't have a clue. I've received clues, but they are no help whatsoever. And then, frankly, I don't even remember what the clues are now because they were no help. And I probably have violated my NDA by telling you that. So scratch all that. Forget everything I just said. Objection sustained. The jury will disregard those last comments. The next thing is, coming up in April, Tom, why are you talking about something that comes up in April? Because people plan far in advance for big stuff, and this is big stuff. Coming up in April is the National Association of Broadcasters Conference and Trade Show. Forget about the conference. It's the trade show that you want to go to. That's where the action is. That is in Las Vegas. It is the 9th through the 12th of April. You want to be there. You want to be there for lots of reasons. There are going to be lots of cool new products released, and that's always fun. If you can hang out with R.J. Murdoch, he will take you around, and he finds the most obscure, wonderful products in the whole world to talk about. We ought to just send him out there with a video camera and let him come back to Streaming Idiots and talk about what he's seen. But on the Tuesday, whatever day Tuesday is in April of NAB, that Tuesday night, we're going to have a Streaming Idiots meetup. So if you're going to come to NAB anyway, make sure you're doing an overnight on Tuesday so you can come. We are negotiating with last year's host to see about having the meetup in his live streaming studio there in Las Vegas. So we'll just have to see if we can make that happen. But put that down on your calendar for Tuesday at Las Vegas, NAB, the Streaming Idiots meetup. It will be a lot of fun. It was a blast last year. And plus you get to meet all the people that you talk to and you exchange text messages with and emails with and chat on forums with and in the Streaming Idiots Facebook group. You know about the Streaming Idiots Facebook group, don't you? You don't? Oh, come on. Give me a break. That is only like the coolest thing. That I didn't even start it. Jan and Marie started it. And they said, maybe we can get 50 people after a year, maybe 50 people, that watch the show regularly will come watch. We've got over 1,200 folks that are Streaming Idiots. Believe me, you ought to see some of the crazy stuff they talk about. It is awesome. So go to Facebook, go to groups. Well, the URL's right down here at the bottom. Yeah, you can see where my arm is. It's facebook.com/groups/Streaming Idiots, and come join. It's a lot of fun. Now, if you just joined Facebook like 2 weeks ago and you're already a member of like 500 groups, we're probably going to assume you're some sort of spammer and you're not getting in. But regular folks are more than welcome. Okay, come on, Tom. Keep going. One more announcement, then we'll get to the good stuff. Sorry about this. This is just, it's taking way too long. That's because I'm having fun, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying hanging out with you guys. Starting tomorrow, Thursday, November 16th, is our first ever. In fact, it doesn't even count as the first ever because it really is not happening. That's our first live streaming rookies class. It's the introduction to live streaming, and it is half price. We're gonna sell it. I know. It's still too expensive. It's still too cheap. In January, it's going to be $99 for 6 classes. Tomorrow, it's $49 or $49.95 or whatever it amounts to for $6 for 6 classes. Let's see if we can't pop up that on here so you can take a look. Go on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com, go to the store, look for the live streaming rookies class, and there it is, and it talks about what the class agenda is and how much it costs and what you need. And yes, we will be recording the shows. The idea with the show is that it's it's going to be a group, small group. Probably we'd like to limit it to 12, but if you're the 13th person, we'll probably let you in. We got the class about half full right now. And the idea is that you're going to come in, if you will, with camera and mic yourself, so that we can have a live question and answer and then live discussion, almost as if we were all sitting in the same room, or sitting in a bar having a beer together, or in a coffee shop having coffee together and talking about live streaming. I think a lot of the joy of this can be being in it not by yourself and having other people that and you can turn to. I had 3 calls yesterday from friends. Are they clients? Yeah, but they're also friends. And they said, Tom, what about this? Oh, I got an answer for that. Tom, what about that? Oh, I don't know, but I think I know. Let me do some research and I'll get back to you. And so it's nice to be able to sort of share the load and share your experiences, your failures as well as your successes. So that class starts tomorrow. You can get more information at streaming at easternshorebroadcasting.com. It's live streaming rookies, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to tape the presentations, but the question and answer and the group discussion portions will be sort of personal. So we won't be recording those. So you can watch the presentations again later. In fact, you get access to them for a year. So that's no problem. But the more personal stuff we'll probably keep aside. We may do a text encapsulation of, or recap rather, of the better question and answers. But we're not going to do that live video. Right. Okay. All right. So I think we got it. Let's see. Is there anything else that we need to do here that we don't have? I think we got it all. All right, so let's get all that. Now that we got all that stuff out of the way, let's have the fun stuff. Today we're talking about audio, as we did last week, and audio interfaces versus audio mixers. Okay, there's got to be a difference, right? Or else we wouldn't have a show. Basically, the difference, and a mixer is going to take various audio sources. It's going to combine them in a mix, and it may, have a little volume of this one and a lot of volume of that one, a little compression here, and a little EQ there, and all of that's going to be mixed up together and sent as one stereo signal to your, it might be stereo, it might be mono, to your PC to use for your live stream. And a mixer was all I knew. That's all I knew about. And sometimes they were pretty hard to connect to your PC, especially if it was USB, because USB is bidirectional. So you'd end up with a loop. You'd unintentionally send audio out to the mixer, I guess, to get mixed in with everything else. And then when it came back, you heard it twice. Once when you said it, once when it came back. And it was a mess. And there were a lot of workarounds to make that work. And frankly, if you understood how to do the workarounds and were kind of the expert in that area, you could get a lot of phone calls. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. So and the other thing that I kind of found out a couple of years ago is that the guys that wrote vMix, or Martin Sinclair, my cousin, my cousin. When he wrote it with an audio interface in mind, that he was going to be able to receive, what an audio interface would do is an audio interface would allow you to bring in multiple channels of audio, not pre-mixed, and then allow, in this case, vMix, to adjust the channels as needed in the software, as opposed to doing it in the mixer before it got to the software, which gives you all sorts of wonderful control. And once I understood that difference, I said, okay, I got to try it. So I went out and I got a Behringer, what was it called? A Behringer, let me pull it up on the desktop here. I should know these kind of things. Behringer UMC 404 HD. That's what it is. And it looks something like this. And so you can see this particular device can take 4 inputs on the left. You kind of have those combo ports. And then either 1/4 inch or XLR. Or actually, you know what? The guys at Behringer have put together a really helpful video. So let's take a look at this video and then we'll be right back. The show's going to run a little long today because we're including this video. So hang on a second. Let me get this video fired up and we will let you go. I think it runs about 3 minutes. So sit tight. Here we go.
Hey everybody, it's Phil with Behringer. How you doing today? Welcome to Music Studios. I want to talk to you today about the Euphoria UMC 404 HD. Now this is an audiophile 4x4 24-bit 192 kilohertz USB audio MIDI interface with Midas mic preamplifiers. It's got some great features. Let's talk about them. Now this is a 4x4 USB 2.0 audio MIDI interface for recording microphones and instruments. This is going to be great in the studio because it's a great 4-in unit, so you can connect in 4 different microphones or instruments because it's on combo connectors, XLR and 1/4 inch, and be able to record stuff USB directly to your DAW. It's also going to be great on the road. You're on the road on the gig, you can slip this in your backpack and you can take it anywhere and be able to record in the hotel room or on a location anywhere. It's going to work great. For professional audio quality, this is an audiophile unit, okay? The bit depth is 24-bit, the sampling frequency is 192 kilohertz. It's going to sound amazingly clear and crisp on the highs and punchy on the lows. Now this unit is also compatible with all the usual suspects as DAWs. We're talking Pro Tools, Cubase, Logic, Ableton Live, Traction, all these kinds of software are going to work great with this seamlessly as an audio interface. Now this unit streams 4 channels of audio, 4 channels in and 4 channels out via USB. And it also has a MIDI port with ultra low latency, so that's going to be great. In addition, it's going to connect seamlessly with any Mac OS system or Windows XP or later. On the front panel, as you can see, you have 4 mic connectors. Now these connectors are going to the Midas mic pre's, the award-winning Midas mic pre's, so they're going to sound amazing. And also included is the capability to have 48 volts. You flip on the phantom power and you can use condenser microphones for things like overheads, vocals, and things of that nature. On the back panel are connectors for analog inserts, so in case you wanted to put a particular compressor or something in the path, in the signal path of a particular channel, you're free to do so. Now you have individual outputs for each channel on both 1/4 inch jacks and on RCA connectors. While you're recording, you do not have any problems with latency. It's a 0 latency product. So when you're playing, there's not going to be any delay or anything between what you feel and what you hear, which is always great. Now there is an input and playback mix control, so you can dial yourself in against the track you're playing to. You want to hear a little bit more of you or a little bit more of the track, you can adjust either way. Now included is a powerful headphone output with its own level control and an A/B source switch so that you can do DJ style cueing and things of that nature. For a perfect overview of your signal path, there are status, signal, and clip indicators on every channel. Now you can connect to the outputs of the UMC 404 HD using either XLR connectors or balanced tip ring sleeve 1/4 inch connectors. Now when you register your product at Behringer.com, you're going to be able to download a free version of Traction audio software so you can get the unit, bring it home, and be recording right away. So this is the Euphoria UMC 404 HD. For more information and media, you know you can come visit us at Behringer.com. Thanks for joining us here at Music Studios.
Alrighty, so that's the idea. Ooh, yeah, that sucker is fixing to play another video. We better shut him off. Like, you know, you are cut off, buddy. You are cut off. Sorry about that. So there you go. Yeah, Anderson says you do a lot of. Yeah, I should have turned my mic off. Sorry about that. Plus, I was drinking my lemonade and I was sucking on a dum-dum, and you know, I was enjoying the video. It's the 3rd time I've seen it. So there you go. You got the kind of the basics, not a lot of which really, well, I mean, we're going to use all that stuff or a lot of that stuff, but it's not specific to live streaming. So let's talk about taking something like the Behringer UMC 404 HD, that's a long model name, and integrating it into your live production using, in this case, using vMix. Again, big benefit is you get each audio device, whatever it might be, a microphone, 2 microphones, 3 microphones, 4 microphones. Each one of those comes into vMix as its own separate audio channel. You can't do that with Windows. This comes in as an ASIO, which I'm pronouncing ASIO. It may be ASIO or some other variation on that, but just bear with me on that. So let's talk about how that works with vMix. Number one, it's a special driver. Lots of people miss that, and they get hung up there and they can't ever get unhung. So let's see if we've got, I think we've got a little, what do we have here? I think we've got a page that shows the driver. Okay, well, here is the page on the Behringer website, which is music-group.com. And basically, I just Googled Behringer UMC 404 HD, found the Behringer site, and it brought up this page, which shows the mixer, and it shows all the various places you can get it, and lots of great information about the mixer that you can go back later and read through, but none of that is what we're interested in right now. What we're interested in right now is right up in the top is the downloads section. You can see that kind of flashing right there as I mouse over it. So we're going to go to the downloads page, and we're going to scroll down to the drivers section. And there are 3 drivers that are available. There's a UMC driver for Windows XP and Vista. There's a UMC driver for Windows 7 to Windows 10. And then there's a Windows driver. Well, you want to get the Windows driver, but you also want to get the UMC driver 3.290 for Windows 7 to Windows 10. That's the one in the middle. And you would agree to the download, and you would download it. And it's not very big. Drivers generally don't take up a whole lot of space. And you know how to install a driver, so we won't go into great detail on that. So once you've got the driver installed, both drivers installed, frankly, both drivers installed, you want to, let's connect it in vMix, and then we'll connect a mic to it. Actually, I already have a mic connected to it, but this is what it looks like here on the desktop. You can see, don't pay any attention to the guys that are playing there in the background, or my bucket of dum-dums over there. The mic here on the left, this is my Audio-Technica 18897, which is a condenser mic, so I've turned on the phantom power for it. The mic on the right is the Audio-Technica ATR 2100, which is this big guy right here. And I've got him plugged in, but I don't have him enabled in vMix yet. And you can see the gain that I've got set on the very first mic, the AT897. The gain is almost at 100%. And I guess these two should really technically be turned all the way down. And I've got number 4 turned all the way down too. I'm monitoring all of this on the headphones, and we'll talk about monitoring in just a second as we get into this. So let's take a look. I need to set, I thought I set up a screen capture for this. My bad. Let me take just a second and set up a screen capture for this screen. And that wasn't the one. I wish screen capture showed little pictures of what you were capturing so you didn't have to guess. That's the output. And let's try one more time. Display number 3. And we have a winner. Okay. So this is, and I'm going to put myself back up here. This is the vMix interface. This big window where I'm waving. The big me with the orange top is preview. Over to my left is the output. And then down below me are all the inputs. And let me go ahead and dock the audio mixer back in there. So that's the audio mixer that just jumped back in. And what I want you to pay attention to, let's do one thing right here. I'm going to turn on the sharpen so any words become a little easier to read. I'm going to go to, what am I going to go to? Okay, I want to add my microphone. So we're going to go to Add Input. Now this assumes that I've installed both drivers and I've connected the Behringer UMC 404 HD to my PC via USB. And actually it's a USB, they didn't mention this in the video, but it's actually a USB powered device. So if you attach it to a USB port that has power, it'll run the whole device. That's pretty cool. All right, so I'm here on the input window in vMix, and I'm going to add an audio input over here on the left. And then I'm going to add an audio device. Now you see I have a lot of audio devices available to me. Some are for things that are not attached, but the drivers are still hanging around. And the temptation is, and I hope you can see it right here, the temptation is to use the Behringer UMC 404 HD 192K to use that device. That's not the one we're looking for. That is not the Droid you're looking for. Yes. What we want is the UMC ASIO driver. And if you don't see this on the list, it means you haven't installed it. So you need to go back to the Behringer website, grab that driver download, and install it on your PC. It does not install automatically with the Windows driver. It's a separate download. So if we'll select this, then the vMix input select window changes. It now allows us to have the ability to use audio channels. So the drop down here will show us 6 different choices. Choice number 1 is N1 and N2. That's input number 1 and input number 2 from the Behringer. And that if we wanted to bring in input number 1 and 2, with 1 being the left channel and 2 being the right channel, i.e. bring in stereo, we would make this selection. If we had mics set up in 3 and 4 that would bring in stereo, we would use the input 3 plus input 4. I've already used N1 for the Audio-Technica AT897, but we're going to use N4 for the ATR 2100. And we have one other new kind of option right here that says mute in headphones. And what that means is, if this is a microphone that I might be speaking through and I don't want to hear myself delayed by a quarter of a second or whatever the latency is out and back, then I can click that little box right there, and that's going to mute that. So let's unmute that now, and we'll add the mic, and we'll come back and I'll show you how to do that later if you have to. So now we've added down here in the bottom right hand corner, we've added audio in 4, and this is our Audio-Technica mic. Let me pull it out, and I'm going to talk in it. Check 1 2 3. Check 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 check. Well, there's a little bit of audio there, but let's crank the gain up until we can get decibel level that is on par with the existing mic. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 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 check. That's about, well, we can always turn it up until it clips and then back off the volume just a tad. All right, so let's show you this shot, and that's the gain knob, and you can see the position on the gain knob versus gains 2 and 3 that are turned off, and more likely the gain on channel 1, which is very, very similar in that sense. Okay, well, this is driving me nuts because I'm getting delayed audio from this mic in my headset. So you can see the earbuds I've got here. I've got this mic in front of me. It's driving me nuts because I'm hearing myself and I'm getting delayed audio. So let's go back to this shot. I'm going to go into the audio input number 4, which is the Audio-Technica ATR 2100. I'm going to click the settings icon, that little gear, and we'll go into the audio settings for audio in 4. And in the bottom left-hand corner is a little speaker icon. And when I click it, it turns off the speakers in my ears. Now, I'll talk about how to set that up in just a second. But as you can see, I'm still talking, but I can't hear it. It's wonderful. If I turn it back on, you notice the volume knob changes positions: off, on, off, on, off. Okay, so we'll leave it right there. And you can make additional modifications to it with EQ, compression, noise gate. As you choose, we'll turn that off for right now. So we'll set that mic aside. Ta-da! And let's talk just a little bit about monitoring that. So if I want to monitor the audio, I need to go into Settings in the top right-hand corner. And I need to go to Audio Outputs, because this is going to be an audio that's going to go out of the computer. And I want to set my headphones to the Behringer. And you say, Tom, why didn't you use the UMC ASIO driver? Well, frankly, I don't know, but it just seemed like this was a better choice, and frankly, it worked, so I stayed with it. You're not getting a lot of wisdom on that. So the speakers now, for speakers right there, for the headphones, so when the headphones are enabled or disabled in vMix, it will either send or not send audio to the Behringer UMC 404 HD, and that's exactly what it's doing right now. And we'll just click cancel because we don't want to ask it to restart, so that I can hear in my ears. I don't hear either one of the headphones now because neither one of those have the headphones turned on, but I hear all other audio that's in vMix right now. And so it's, once you get to that point, I mean, it's kind of like anything else, you know. If you're in a strange town and you don't know how to get to the grocery store, you don't know how to get to the grocery store. But once you learn, it's just a matter of you know, it's simple. You just go down here and take a left and go up there and take a right. Yeah, they're making fun of me in chat because I was talking so slowly when I could hear myself in the ear. It is really unsettling. And I've had to deal with that. And I've had, you know, people, you know, well, just turn the volume down. Well, you end up turning the volume down on something else. But that's the very quick and dirty way of using the Behringer. Let's go back to this shot. I feel more comfortable there. There we go. To use the Behringer 404, UMC 404 HD in place of a mixer. And once you kind of get to that point, then all of a sudden you can do lots of different things. If you're using your X keys, you can now set up the X keys to turn off microphones. So you hit a button, you turn the microphone off. You hit the same button, you turn the mic back on. You can adjust the volumes of the microphones that way. Using yes, you can, using the X keys. You don't even have to have a knob. It can just be a button. And you get easier control over the things that you want control for. Now, for folks that are doing a self-produced show like I am here, it's great to have a button that does 5 different things. So all I need is a button that says this does 5 different things. And I get those 5 different things done for me automatically. if you're in a situation where you're not the talent, not that I'm talent, but you know what I mean, a situation where you're not the talent and you have to direct the show, but it happens very quickly. Again, it's nice to have buttons that are dedicated. I mean, that's why they have control surfaces. And so an X keys is nothing but a control surface that you get to decide what you want to control. That's the beauty of it. Merle is saying in chat that he monitors his own audio. And on a mixer, you can do that by monitoring the audio at the mixer, but it also may mean that you miss out on the audio that's being produced by vMix, or if you route the audio to the mixer, you then stand the danger, if you don't do a mix minus, of having that audio come back to vMix a second time. And so it can be a little... Do I have on both mics? Sorry about that. Yeah, let's take out that second mic. There we go. So that's so it can be a little disconcerting when you start hearing echoes. That's when you know essentially you have two audio sources or two audio paths that are leading to your ears. So there you go. John says, slow mic, it's an XLR cable with too much resistance. Well, I don't think so. I think in this case, it's an audio path that's going a different direction and has to go around the block and come back. And that's why it's slightly delayed. But I can check that. I'll check that sometime. So going back to this little shot for just a second, you can see that I've got my nothing but my earbuds, and they are, let's plug them here so you can see. It's just a stereo 1/8" plug going into a stereo 1/4" adapter, and I am picking a comfortable level to adjust my audio on, and that's about right there. And that works for me. That's the key. Everybody's going to find, you know, for example, you're going to say, well, Tom, what does that button do? What does that button do? Well, frankly, I don't know. It works. I need it to work. That's all I need to know. I'm not likely to change it. It's a studio setup where I'm doing the same thing every week, and if it works, that's what it was. Martin says that delay was much more than just having different paths. Well, I don't know. Y'all couldn't hear the delay that I heard, I don't think. Well, we'll get that. We'll get into that in the post show. Maybe we can do some experimenting there. That's what post show is good for. So that's the Behringer UMC 404 HD. If you're interested in purchasing one, they're about $100 on Amazon, and I think B&H has got them. Musician's Friend, Sweetwater, a lot of folks. They were real scarce about 6 months ago. They were hard to find, and I think Behringer was just having trouble building enough of them. Maybe they didn't anticipate the need, but for $99, it's an absolute beast of a machine. I'm going to post an affiliate link here in chat, so if you're interested in it and you want to support Streaming Idiots, you can use this affiliate link to purchase, and I'll also purchase an affiliate link in the YouTube comments and in the Facebook comments. So if you're interested in one, you can get it, and that's one of the nice things about Amazon is that you get it, you don't like it, you send it back in 30 days. And it can be powered USB. In fact, mine stays powered USB 24/7. So there we go. And somebody's saying that they think a New York City big box store will be receiving the BirdDog TV devices today. That should be great. That's good news. All right, folks, that's all we got. Remember, coming up next Tuesday, November 21st, is the vMix Funtime Live Show at, I guess, vmix.com. Click Watch Live somewhere in the top. And starting tomorrow is the Streaming Idiots, or excuse me, the Live Streaming Rookies Introduction to Live Streaming class. If you're interested, go to easternshorebroadcasting.com. It's in the store. and you can get it there. It's half price. As we've got some rough edges on it, and so you're going to get those rough edges, and that's why we're selling it at half price. And then of course NAB Streaming Idiots meet up on Tuesday of NAB week. So that's it from here from Streaming Idiots. I'm Tom Sinclair. It's been my pleasure to be with you today. And it probably hasn't been your pleasure to be with me, but that's okay. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you next week. Have a great week. Bye now. And we are done. So let's go to post show. There we go. Post show. So you guys said that there's a conversion going on. And my thought is that the conversion is that the audio is going into the Behringer, is going into vMix, is spinning around in vMix, is coming out through the USB, coming back to the Behringer and then to my ears. And you're saying that should be immediate, and so I'm doing something wrong. Maybe that's because I'm monitoring it using ASIO. That's interesting. And for some reason, the chat just went crazy. Let's see. Let's go down here and see. Post show. Yeah, why did the chat go weird like that? It just sort of froze. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. Let's see if we can't monitor. I did that. I'm doing that right now. I apologize. How is that working? Let me see if this does it. Yep, there we go. That brought it back. I'll keep my mouse off that window. Let's go back to the desktop capture shot. And let's see if I was just wrong in the way I have things set up. So we're going to go to settings. We're going to go external output, audio output. And for the speakers, we'll try the ASIO driver. Let's see what happens there. Restart vMix? Sure. Oh, well, I didn't. And we're back. Okay, so we restarted vMix. You say, Tom, how did you restart vMix without losing the stream? I can't tell you all my tricks, but I'll happily tell you that one. Okay, so let's see. Let me produce some audio, something with audio in it, so that I can tell that there is audio on the line. Okay, I can hear that. And now let me take the dangerous. Let's put the audio mixer back down here, and I'm gonna come back down into my mic, and I'm gonna turn the headphones back on. Check. 1, 2, 3. Nah, it's still got delay. You can see the delay right there in the difference between the pre and the post processing. Turning that back off, it'll drive me nuts. All right, Martin says we were hearing a mix of two mics, both going through the UMC and using the same type of software route, so they should stay more or less in phase. Clearly, they weren't for some reason. What you hear coming back is bound to be delayed compared to the input, but the two inputs should be similar. Maybe you added a delay for one input in vMix, but the other. Well, let's check that. This is the mic you speak of, so we'll turn that back on. And so that mic is on, and the Audio-Technica mic is on. And I'm going to be a little bold, and I'm going to turn on the headphones for both of them so I can hear both of them. Okay, so both of them are on, and the echo I hear sounds like it has reverb in it, which makes me think that you're correct. The two mics live, boy, that'll drive you crazy. The two mics live have got a slight bit of difference in their path, and I'm guessing the Audio-Technica, let's turn that guy off, the Audio-Technica ATR 2100, the less expensive of the two mics, may be the one that's delayed slightly, just because. All right, Martin says one has 50 milliseconds, the other 0. How can you count that fast? That's amazing. Okay, so unless they're the same mic, and obviously you're not going to use two mics to mic the same person. I wouldn't. Well, actually, I might. And I mean, I might in a case where's there we go. I might use two mics to mic the same person, but I wouldn't have them both on at the same time. I'd have one as a backup. Okay, we could see it in your settings. You could see what in my settings? It was on the mic settings. What? Did I have some delay on one of them? What is it you're saying? Let's see. Delay. Oh, I do. I have 50 milliseconds. Look at there. How about that? Where did that come from? I wonder if I set that to match this camera or a different camera somewhere. There we go. Well, in your opinion, is the mic that I'm using now in sync with the video? I have it turned off, so I don't know. So we'll switch to the other mic, and you can see if that one's in sync. All right, this is the other mic. That mic has not been delayed by 50 milliseconds. And the comments say, the mic sync looks fine here. Alan Z says that. I think you're talking about the first mic. And Giles says no, and Rich says yes. But Giles says, but you can't tell on speech. All right, so I'll go back to mic number 4, and you tell me if it looks like it's out of sync. Excuse me. Merle said both in sync on YouTube, even though 50 milliseconds difference. This is the ATR 2100 that is not delayed by 50 milliseconds. And, you know, frankly, that 50 millisecond delay could have been for a camera that I don't use anymore. Alan says, try setting both to 0, then turn them both on and see if the reverb stops. Well, there you go. Let's try that. So I'll let you see what I'm doing. We'll go in here. We'll take that down to 0 and close. And I'll turn on both mics. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. What do you think? Check 1, 2, 3. Do the clap again on both, please, says Giles. Well, they're the same now. Number 4 looked better to me, says Giles. Well, maybe. Okay. So I'm going to turn off number 4. This is number 1. Well, let me give you back the straight picture. There we go. Let's try that. That's number 1. That's number 2. How about that? Just like me, isn't it? You need to bring the ATR up to your mouth because it is low volume for speech. Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, Giles says he thinks number 1 is in sync now. Well, actually, he didn't say he thinks. He said it looks in sync. Number 4, indeed. And Rich, of course, is Rich. Alan said, so we wouldn't hear reverb if present. Well, let me turn them both back on again, and you tell me. 3, 2, 1. I've got both mics on. Do you hear reverb? Well, let me bring the other mic up to my mouth. Test 1, 2, 3. Do you hear reverb? Which, would be 2 mics at the same time, except one of them just ever so slightly delayed over the other one. Or do you hear both mics as if they were the same? Merle says very, very close. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to keep doing this until somebody says, oh, they're exactly the same in the reverb. Howard. Hey, Howard, haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you, my friend. Says, yes, slight reverb. Interesting. The tiniest amount. Slight difference, but not nearly as much as earlier. Merle says reverb, slight reverb, reverb, a little, but not much as much when you had the delay, but it's still there. Interesting. And Tommy says all that clapping kept him awake. So Tommy can go back to sleep now. And we'll stop clapping too. Very good. Kenny said the sound could be a phase issue, not a delay issue. Aha. That's my educated aha when I don't have a clue what you guys are talking about. Because, again, I am in the shallow end of the pool in more things than I care to mention. Martin Stuckey's here. Rod's here. Samuel's here. Welcome, Samuel. Let's see. Mark B. Howard Jones. Dan's here. Dan, didn't see you sneak in. Peter Ballinger, welcome. Aram's here. Glad to have you, my friend. Looking forward to the class tomorrow. That's going to be fun. Which one are you going to come to, the first or second or both? On Henry's here. Texas Mike and Mark B. Okay. Oh, Alan, Tom is not easily phased. I'm phaseless. Kenny says the sound is reaching the mics at different times, thus causing phase issue. Uh-huh. So you mean sound doesn't move at the same rate of speed? Or because there was distance? Michael said last week that that sound actually travels rather slowly. All right, so Rich says, so what's the verdict? You mix mics within vMix or external to your mixer? Well, I'm in favor of doing it within vMix because, number one, the Behringer UMC 404 HD is like a tenth of the size of my Behringer X1204 USB, and I like having the desktop space back. I didn't need so many of the features that it had. Frankly, they confused me. And I like being able to control everything I want within vMix. For example, if I had, I don't today, but if I were using 2 mics and I wanted to mute one of them, I can set it up on X keys to mute. And so my hand is hitting the same control surface for video functions as well as audio functions. Let's see. Merle says, do I understand you to say I couldn't monitor my audio on the 404 without echo? No. You couldn't monitor your own audio. That is correct. Not the way I've got it set up unless there's something I'm missing. And the audio would drive you crazy. But why do you need to hear yourself? I would bet that no professional, sportscaster or newscaster or talk show host or whatever hears their own audio. I think they, if they have a guest that's live in the studio, they hear whatever the guest is saying. Maybe that's piped into their ear. So Merle, my recommendation would be as fun as it was early on to monitor my audio at the mixer, and maybe I've got something just set. Maybe there's a way to set it here on the Behringer. I'll play around with that, so that I get myself more live. Maybe that's what this mix button is for. Let's try that. We'll turn my mic on just a second. So check 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, there it is. It was that simple. All right, so now I can hear myself live, in sync, in time. Let me show you what I did. All right, so hang on a second. We're going to go on a little journey here. Well, that's as far as we're going to go. Interface. And I had the button swung all the way to the other side. Now, my guess is that I'm not going to be able to hear anything coming from the PC. So let me generate some audio here, and I'll show you what I'm doing if I can find it. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to come down to the mixer here. I'm going to turn on Fresh and Fun. And you guys can hear that, but I can't. So I'm not hearing. So if I send the mix button back, now I can hear it a little bit, but I also hear myself echoed. So I've got a choice of hearing myself live perfectly or hearing everything else that's going on in vMix. And I think I would choose to hear everything else that's going with vMix and give up hearing myself. But that's just me. All right, let's see. Giles says, but I think if there is enough mic separation, the 404 on its own would be fine. I like it. Rich says, Alan says, that's one of the reasons I went to a single ear monitor or bone conductor headset so I could hear myself clearly. Kenny says, how can you yawn and then I yawn 600 miles away? Well, Kenny, it's called latency. Oh boy, sometimes I just slay myself. All right, Rich says, I have to connect external mics picking up ambient sound. This can be a solution than fiddling with the external mixer. I think so, and plus it's smaller, it's lighter. I think it's got a 3-year warranty. And you can control that. The beauty, I think the beauty is that you can control it in vMix. So you can do make all your controls in one place instead of going here for something, there for something. I like the one-stop shop idea. I think it makes production easier when you can do that. Okay, let's see. Comac O'Kane, welcome. Phase is when the signal from one mic reaches the destination slightly after the other. If they're totally out of phase, they cancel each other totally. So you have to be careful using multiple mics. The rule is that 2 mics must be 3 times the distance from each other than you. Okay, there you go. Mark C's got to go. Bye, Mark C. Glad to have you. Thanks for coming. And Comac says, actually, this is how they make karaoke records, removing the vocals. Hey, that's cool. They don't take the audio out, they just phase it out. I've been phased out before. Maybe that's what was going on. Interesting. Interesting. But I will give a shout out to those of you that have joined us late and we're now in post show. But if you're watching, well, I guess you can get the chat right there. I was going to say, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com where you can get the chat, but you got it. So it's a lot of fun. I'm stoked about this little guy. I like having the desktop real estate back. I like the fact that it's powered by USB, so I don't have to do another wall wart. I like the fact that my audio needs are rather simple, but I can have up to 4 mics here and control them all through vMix. So it's a plus win-win for me all the way across the board. The only thing I lose, Merle, is not being able to monitor my own audio. But frankly, I stopped doing that with the Behringer because I was having double audio problems, and I couldn't figure out how to do the mix minus to get rid of it. So let's see. Giles says, I generally recommend using an audio interface on its own because you control everything in vMix and automate stuff. Sometimes, though, a mixer is needed. And I did keep one. I sold the 1204, but I kept the 802 just in case. Just in case. Rich says there's a rack mount for $2.99, kind of pricey to add brackets. I think I could fab some brackets for less than that. My son and I fabbed a set of brackets last year to, what was it, attach the sound bar to a TV that's hanging on the wall. And it was easy. It was easy. Okay. Let's see who we missed on the list. I'm looking. Oh, Kent's here. Hey, Kent, welcome. Glad to have you. Kent has been with us, Kent, since the bad old days, back in that VidBlaster guy days. He's not the only one, but was there somebody on the Streaming Idiots group last night, as a matter of fact, asked, I said, Tom, was that you that did all that VidBlaster guy shows? And I was like, yeah, it was me. Okay, Rich has given us a link for the bracket mount version. So let's go see what the link says. And it is, oh, well, it's the 1820. That's part of it. Yeah. Yeah, that's a different creature altogether. I mean, it's the same audio interface, but it's multiple inputs. And I guess most of them are line inputs. Or no, I guess there's some XLR inputs on the back. 2, 4, 6 on the back and 2 on the front. So there you go. If you need that many. That's the thing. All right. Cormac says, with a lot of modern interfaces, you can monitor your own mic input going into the interface and then coming out before it hits the software. This is very like the way Analog Deck used to do Q mixes. That way you have no latency and hear yourself before the software. And this particular device lets you do that, but it also mixes or has the opportunity, the option. See the top of my head disappear there? Yeah. It also can allow you to mix in the return feed from the PC, which unfortunately in this case includes my audio. So that's why it's not good. And there may be a way using the A or B bus in vMix to do that. Frankly, it was just easier not to listen to my own audio. But, Merle, I will say, I listened to myself for several years before I finally gave it up. And so it was like, okay, I know what I sound like now. Giles says, that was a quick lobotomy. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It was the frontal lobe. Yeah. All righty. Very good. Very good. Well, gents, unless you guys have got an agenda, you've heard mine. Kent always has a great question. Hi, Tom. I probably missed the Behringer UMC 404 HD. Would I need to use virtual audio cables to use with Zoom US? I have 100 megs down and 10 megs up now. Would vMix Call be a better option for guests and remote hosts? Kent, great question. With the Behringer UMC 404 HD, there would be no difference in that scenario than using a mixer like the Behringer X1204 USB. To use virtual audio cables with Zoom would still be a necessity to bring in the guest audio into vMix. and to send a return audio from vMix to the guest. vMix Call allows you, of course, to not have to do a screen capture and not have to use audio cables, virtual audio cables. So I think it's better in that regard. Some guests tend to struggle with something like that with vMix Call over Zoom. So it's like tools in your tool belt. Here comes a Tom analogy again. It's like tools in your tool belt. Your guest, every guest knows how to use a hammer, but not every guest knows how to use snap ring pliers, right, Samuel? So you use the tools that your guest can use with the greatest chance of success. Not that a hammer and snap ring pliers do the same thing, but the idea is that you want the guest to be successful. And if the best they can do is Zoom, because that's all they know, even though that makes more work for you, you want them to be the best they can do. Now, I like, as much as I can, I like to teach, and so I like to teach people how to use Zoom, but also to use vMix Call, because again, it's keeping it all in-house. vMix Call does the automatic mix minus. If you have multiple callers, it arranges the mix minus between all of them, and it's so much easier on the production side when people use vMix Call. But for some people, maybe they can't figure out how to get their camera or their microphone into Google Chrome or Safari or whatever. And so I understand that. And in those cases, for them, something that they may be more familiar with, like Zoom or Skype, would be a better choice. All right, Kenny says, good points. This interface also has inserts on the back, which you take a tip ring sleeve 1/4-inch jack and just plug in the tip, not all the way, and get an output from that insert without bothering the internal mix. Works on some mixers anyway. Oh, that might be interesting. We'll try that. But I would, yeah. I'm trying to think if that's a way to hear myself, but I don't think it is. Whatever you say. All right. Cormac says you guys might be interested in DantaVia, a small audio application we use in the audio industry to do the audio equivalent of NDI around different pieces of software and network computers. It allows me to multi-track my audio sources into the same computer as vMix and Cubase. Yeah, I've got a client that uses that and is very, very pleased with the ability to capture audio. They're in a concert hall and they're using vMix for streaming, and they're also recording the mix, the audio-video mix, and then also recording the audio. And they use DantaVia for that. All right, Alan Z says that he just did a test on his Mackie Onyx Blackjack and needed to put the TRS adapter slightly out of the headphone port to hear both computer and no latency direct microphone input. Okay, so let's see what we got there. Let's turn that back on. See if that's... See. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Nah, I don't hear either one of them. Maybe I'm too far out. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Nope, that doesn't do it. Check, 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 check. Now we're going to turn that bad boy off. Worth a try, though. Worth a try, though. Not set up that way on the Behringer. Kenny says, yes, that's correct. You're just using the tip of the jack. Alan says this is with the direct monitor enabled and mixed so it hears both sources. Yep, that's what I was trying. Well, and in this case, you know, both sources includes me and then me delayed. And so that won't work. That won't work. Interesting. Okay. Texas Mike, he gets drawn into the conversation here. With the 404 HD, there's a mix knob that controls how much of the USB return you hear. That's the one I've been using. And how much of the direct inputs you hear. I have the headphone level for my mic input in vMix turned down all the way. And then adjust the mix knob on the UMC so I can hear the audio return from PC with just a little from the mic inputs on the 404. Okay. Okay. I can see that. I mean, I don't know that that applies in my case because I want to be able to I mean, if I'm Merle and I want to be able to hear myself, the only way I can hear myself right now is to either is to turn the mix knob all the way to one side and have the headphones enabled in vMix. Then I can hear myself with no latency. Can I hear myself? Does it have anything to do with latency? No, it doesn't have anything to do with the headphone knob in vMix. It just is the mix knob. So I'm hearing myself perfectly right now. Giles says it should work for me. Okay, let's look at it again then. With the 404 HD, there's a mix knob, I have my hand on it, that controls how much of the USB return you hear and how much of the direct input you hear. Got it. He says, I have the headphone level for my mic input in vMix turned all the way down, as do I, and then adjust the mix knob on the UMC so I hear audio return from the PC with just a little direct. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right. Well, let's try that then. Let me play some music. Check, 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 check. Yep, that was it. How about that? There you go, Merle. That's it. Texas Mike, high five. Love it. So no monitor in vMix. That's right. If you turn the monitor on, that's when you get the delayed audio. I love it. Alan says, I don't want to hear myself in the headphones, but I do want to hear myself clearly. So the key is to not have headphones in both ears. That's what I was describing before. Gotcha. Gotcha. Thank you, Mike. Good work. Good work. Merle, are you getting all this? Merle? And, you know, to some degree, this stuff is different in a studio with one person, where if you're doing it at a ball game and you've got 2 people on mic or 3 people on mic, you know, it's just all going to be a little different. Merle said, yeah, he's getting it. He's getting it. Alan Z said, what I meant about describing before was a direct monitor mix on the interface. Direct monitor mix. Alan, you got me confused now. If it's worth it, try again. I think it's worth it. All right. So you finally got it working the way I do. That's what he wanted. That's what he wanted. Okay, very good. Thank you, guys. It's always a treat to hang out with you guys because y'all are so much smarter than I am. Gee whiz. But I get to take all the credit. Although the next time I share, Mike, the next time I share this with somebody, I'm going to give you all the credit. There you go. That's cool. All right. So, and that doesn't that make my point about audio? I think audio is far more difficult to set up than video. Video, you know, it's there. Audio, well, maybe it's there, but maybe it's there and maybe it's both places at once. You know, how many times have you gotten video where you got a double video signal? Ever? I don't think so. Alan Z says way, way, way more difficult than video. Okay, it's a three-way. No, that didn't come out right. But anyway. All right, anybody just joining us here wondering what the heck are these guys talking about? Don't see anybody just joining us. That's good. Alan C. So you finally got it working the way I do. We have less hair from tearing it out. Yeah. Does that include Tommy? Who knows if it includes Tommy? Just try to explain the 1204 to someone. I've tried. That's one of the reasons why I abandoned it. I didn't abandon it. I sold it. Kenny says, well, that was more fun than I should be allowed to have. Back to work. Bye, Kenny. Holler if I can help. Giles says, in the analog days, sometimes I used to get double shadows ringing in the video. Digital video is way easier. Huh. Alan got a 1204 USB on the shelf. When I took mine out of service, Alan, I kept it for about 6 months just to make sure I wasn't going to miss it or need it. And then I resold it. I think I bought it for $170 5 years ago, and I sold it about 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, for about $110. So that was a pretty good deal. That was a pretty good deal. It held its value. I mean, they're still making them. I don't think they've even changed them. So it was for somebody that was looking for a brand new one, to get a lightly used. I only used one channel. Well, that's not true. I had a lot of things back in the VidBlaster days where we had cables going everywhere trying to get audio in and out. Giles apparently has a steam-powered mixer. And he has an analog vision mixer. Oh my goodness. You guys with history. Ag Vlog, welcome. Glad to have you. Oh, but he never used it. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, gents, I think I'm going to have to step away. I've got some projects here that need my attention. If I can help you with a project, holler to me. Merle's like, you old guys tickle me. Uh-oh. What did Dave O post? Goodness gracious, I'm a sucker for a link. What do we got here? audioimplements.com/audio clarifiers custom. Well, let's see what that is. On-camera audio clarifiers with custom... Oh, it's for your ears. Oh, cool. All right. Thank you. Good link. Air impression kit. That's cool. I don't see any pricing. Am I missing that somehow? I guess this is sort of a catalog. It's not really an order desk. Okay. That'll work. Alan Z's looking forward to the session tomorrow. Yeah, Alan is going to the introduction class. Can you believe it? And he says it should be fun. Yeah, he's going to be poking fun at me. No, Tom, that doesn't work. It's Giles Gerard in Saskatchewan. Welcome. Glad to have you. Dave said, this is what I use. It fits nicely and attaches to the back of your shirt. There you go. I like that. Alan says, I didn't see any login instructions for the session. Did I miss something? Yes, you missed the email that is one of my projects this afternoon to send out. Dave says, sorry, I don't know the price. Who was it? Somebody was telling me they'd gotten something like that. It was in about the $200 range. I mean, I'm a sucker for my $9.99 earbuds from Walmart. I'm not enough of a professional. Anderson says he seldom has problems with his analog mixer, the Yamaha MDR24 and the Mackie 1402. Well, there you go. And Dave has to go. Alan says, I haven't seen the email you haven't sent yet. Yeah, Alan, your expectations of me are really high, and you are in the wrong place. Oh, no, it's going to be a good show. It's going to be not a show, but a good class. Anderson says, I use my audio card for my audio inputs. There you go. Dave, thank you very much. It was fun. Glad to have you guys here. Yep, I need to send Alan Z and all the other folks an email with instructions for tomorrow's class. We'll we're going to use Zoom to do that. And that way we can have live question and answer and live discussion. And I'll record the presentation portion of it, but I won't record the question and answer discussion portion of it, so that we can kind of keep that as private amongst us, so that when we talk about Tommy and Merle and Giles, they won't ever hear about it. Oh, Giles wants to sign up and troll. Well, I think it's after your bedtime. The 3 o'clock Eastern, that's like 9 or 10 o'clock for you. Then of course the 8 o'clock Eastern would be even later. So we'll see which one people choose. I thought I'd give folks a choice of times, and for the West Coast folks, 3 in the afternoon is noon for them, or 11, which may not be a good time. So 8 in the evening on the East Coast is going to be how many times is that? 7, 6, 5 on the West Coast. Anderson says we'll have to miss the class tomorrow, traveling to Trinidad. Okay, we'll have you excused. 3 p.m. Eastern time is 8 p.m. Oh, so it's only 5 hours now that we've switched time zones. Okay. 5 hours, 6 hours for me here, because it'll be 2 o'clock here when we start. Okay, got it. Got it, good. All right, guys, well, I'm going to let the stream run out for a little bit, and then I will catch some of you tomorrow and the bulk of you next week. Thanks. See you later.